This is Dr. Rao Kulusu coming live on several channels at the same time. Uh, I was here this morning and I was talking about renaissance of inner life. Um, I'm doing this because some of the other friends of mine will be coming on this time of the evening because sometimes I do 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 p.m. So, what I was talking about was more like what about the world condition? How much disaster things happening due to our lack of awareness? That means our citizens uh, had really oriented themselves to the inner life. That was something really uh, perplexing. That how from the elevated consciousness we have slipped to what's happening now in our lives, right? Everybody is really going outward with the senses or sensory indulgence or intellectual analysis of things, always going out rather than going in and finding out who we are and what we are made of, what kind of things we can let go and be very happy. And the happiness itself, they say, it's an inside, not an outside job. It's an inside job, right? Your contentment, your happiness, or your desirelessness, all those spiritual goals they had lived, and then they show how deep we can go in understanding human condition, human interior, human plight because of all that, right? So when you turn inward and consume less and be kind to the planet and be kind to the animals and plants, we are really looking at those people as evolved, right? That is something that always fascinated me. And there were so many stories I told my friends here that when you turn inward, what kind of things we can anticipate. That's why I went into this yesterday. Actually, we were having a conversation about this particular aspect of what happened to India at the time of independence, 1947, right? Then they had a chance to go their old way of really looking at the spiritual way, or they can go with the rest of the world turning outward. So it is a very clear choice in front of the new uh, new rulers, which happen to be Indians, right? So they could go. Small industry orientation, village orientation, and spiritual orientation and inward orientation. Kind of dug up their uh, entire lifestyle, entire orientation to the philosophy, and conserving things and really improving their inner life. You know, that was the choices they had. I get to know this because I read a book by Aurobindo. He is a great sage himself in yoga. He's a very accomplished person. So he wrote a book called Renaissance of India, focusing on the spiritual genius of India. You know, so that was very relevant for the India at the time. And now we can, I mean, it's like a retroactive. We can say these things very easy for us. But then what happened to India was mainly they are not really dug in their own culture or understood the real deep truths and wonderful way of looking at life. They did not understand that, but they took some practices and they were doing it without the lived life of the spiritual truths. and they turn towards the West, and they turn towards ego development and also consumerism, which is rampant, and also really forsaken all the wonderful values that ancient taught them, and they were supposed to understand them, live a simple life and higher thinking life inwardly. You know that has happened, and now we can see very clearly the spirituality that was shown and taught by the ancient rishis. People are not really following that. They are more like they are when they have gone back to that. But I think that is now relevant to everybody. You see, everybody. It's relevant to everybody. I wonder what happened to my friend. He wanted to come up, Pashala. I said okay, but then he suddenly disappeared. Maybe he'll try again. Bob, try again. I will bring you up again. You were here and then you were gone. So anyway, so how is that inner life is relevant to us is very important to understand, because a lot of people having material, uh, you know, they are well-to-do materially. They have a lot of knowledge, but if you take their inwardness, they are mostly void, or they are unhappy with all the things that they have, all the problems the modern society is giving them. Right. So that's why I said, let us to the renaissance of inner life. It is not applicable only to one country, because everything spreads very quickly, right? You are um, in one country, and whatever that you want to communicate, you can communicate instantly with everybody around the world, and the people will take that and then absorb that, and they kind of ruin their ancient cultures too. For example, Bhutan, right? This is a small kingdom that had real good ancient ways embedded into their lifestyle. So they were very uh, Buddhist culture before the internet entered the country. The kingdom did not, the king, did not want their old values go away, which are contentment and happiness within, and outwardly, all are very simple, and they all wear the same clothes. They don't bring importance to that, but they give importance to the human feeling, human love, compassion, and all. They even have an artist called happiness index. So gross domestic product, like that, gross domestic happiness index they had. They still maintain that. So they assess how many people are harmonious, how many people are really guarding their relationship, how many people are inwardly peaceful and quiet and having all that, right? That kind of, yeah, there is Bob. Let me bring you up, my friend Bob Kasha. Rab. Yeah, I was calling Bob.
Good afternoon, Dr. Rao.
Hi, Rab. How are you?
I am doing fine. I just got your message.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to go on. Have to go on in an hour on another channel
Okay.
For a video cast. But I just saw. I want to say hi to you and see how you're doing. And I
Oh,
love your topics, Dr.
yeah.
Rao.
Yeah.
Renaissance of inner life.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds like kind of being still and just passionately listening and
Yeah.
to being calm like you are. I think that's what I hear when I read it.
Yeah, because I get in touch with this burnout top people and stressed out people, and most of them, if you look at it, they're doing okay with the material comforts and all the monies and all that. But that itself is making them feel miserable, and then they have not got into them from the beginning how to turn inward and understand themselves, their moods, their concerns, and all that, right? The understanding of the outward things is there. They're excellent creators of outward things. But when it comes to the relationship with their wife or with their dear ones or with other people, they kind of seem like they get lost. That reserve of love and affection is not there. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, what is your definition? You're kind of in charge, so I'm letting you run with it. But
Yeah.
what is your definition of inner life. Let me just break it down. Renaissance means historically, or maybe
Revival.
the way
Revival.
we do, maybe the way we do life.
Yeah.
I'm taking this.
Revival. Revival. That what I mean is a revival or direct certain way to how our life is going to go. You know.
Okay, and of inner life would
Yeah.
probably be not what you explore, explore with the external universe,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
your inside and
Inside.
dealing with your own
Exactly.
balances. How's
Exactly.
that? Does that sound about
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Sure. Sure. For example, you are accepting everybody and you are
Yes.
equanimous with everybody and you feel we are all in the same energy, we are all one, you know, and because of that you feel love and affection to everybody irrespective of what their status outwardly is, and you kind of show kindness and consideration, compassion, that kind of thing. It's more like a heart turn come out
Right.
of us. We are more like thinking but with a heart. So
Absolutely.
this I call heartfulness. I want people to revive their own incredibly powerful heart that is can forgive, can accept, can also give back. Even though you are not really loving, this kind of heartful people, they can give you things without expecting anything in return. Maybe a few,
Right.
but they are there. But the major thinkers are like that. That's why we can to look at them and understand what are they talking about.
I'm wondering what your suggestion is, and let me just throw a situation at you, if you don't mind, Doctor.
Yeah.
Uh, the topic I'm discussing in the next hour is going to be overcoming the issues of COVID-19 and getting back on track.
Mm.
And we have thousands of clients around the country
Yeah.
who have a tough time
Mhm.
making that leap from where they were said, where they were told, hey, everybody stay home from the United States for 3 weeks. And all of a sudden, we're 3 years later, and they don't want to get up and go to work. They don't want to get up and do anything. They just want to
Yeah.
hang out. And I can't imagine that their inner life, their inner feelings would be a jump to that type of statement all the time.
No, no.
I can understand when you're down and out and you're
Yeah.
depressed or if there's something clinically wrong. But what do you think about that? And maybe give me some points of
Yeah,
focus
let
on
me
ways.
first make a statement as a physician, as an epidemiology interested person. You know, what we did with COVID, all the missteps, that we are doing, the public health point of view, there have been a lot of missteps. We are doing the same with monkeypox now. You know,
Okay.
say they were at the end of May, there were few cases, maybe 5 cases, something. That is the time when we could have really arrested that. But then what we did, we kind of allowed people to spread the COVID because they were not really aware of the real situation. You know, they were
Right.
not told that this is a very nasty bug that can really spread very easily. And then because of the spread that was allowed, either we allowed the air travel or we allowed a lot of people come in without proper screening, or we did not do testing quickly, or we did not isolate those people. So we kind of dropped the bucket, dropped the ball when it was very easily manageable, and then it spread
Yeah.
so quickly, and people also injected other things than just the science, and that's why we knew how to prevent epidemic from our experience of Ebola, HIV, influenza, and all that. So we have learned a lot, and as physicians, we knew that this is going to be epidemic because most of the people internally not allow themselves to be aware of that problem.
Right.
And that's why
So
everybody going by
is
their
there
political affiliation or by their own personal feeling, but they were not taking it epidemiological. It's very simple. It used to be all the epidemiologists when they break out of a certain village remotely in Africa or China or India, wherever it is, then this WHO had a wing. They could send people there, and also United States actually supported. It's called Prevent. You know, the moment something broke, they went to the village and quarantined the village and limited the spread to that village. But now, because
Right.
we are like a globe, that is all the bugs are going around, like planes are going like bugs, there's so much population, so much quick travel. So we allowed that we don't have a scientifically consensual way of preventing things as they happen. There were some places there that they did very well. They went and received people from the airport and diagnosed them, tested them. The moment they personally put them in a house and isolated them for 2 weeks and all. Those kind of,
Well, let me ask you this question because I agree with what you're saying. When I wrote this down, COVID was kind of a mystery at the first,
yeah,
and now we're with monkeypox, and people. I think your quote of people were not completely aware.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They were
Now
not
I
indicated.
agree with you on all those facts.
Yeah.
My question might be, is do you think? And I'm going to ask two parts of this question. Do you think that the American public has just had it? They don't want to
Oh
talk
yeah.
about it.
Oh yeah,
They
oh
don't.
yeah. They're
Yeah.
fatigued. They're exhausted. That's I don't blame them for that. But what I say is, this is a problem you got to address collectively. You know,
Right.
and the divisions we had have come up. Unfortunately, they allowed the virus spread much more than it would have been if we are all together on one understanding of scientific understanding. You see, epidemiologically, public health is not given paramount importance in this country. So,
Right.
but they did not fund it. They don't have people to go and work with each house and then make sure that nobody is really infect is coming out. That kind of thing they could not do because they don't have the structure. And we neglected it for a long time. And then we also allowed these political divisions. And so why are most people are not really going by the science? That's also a factor that allowed the spread. Once the spread, then there are more mutations happen, and these
Right.
mutations are very powerful now. They are beyond the vaccine, and then what? And I always talked about natural health, well, good health and resistance. That is also going to really help us to overcome some of these epidemics, some of these bugs. But we kind of did that also. We don't really maintain our health, or we have chronic diseases, or all those things make people vulnerable to this, and the cause of spread to other people. So many complicated issues are there. But basically, if you look at it, people are not aware of the facts and the truths and as it is happening, and that's why they are allowing this thing to spread all over. Now,
Well,
monkeypox.
let me run this by you. You
Yeah,
know, one thing that they wanted us to talk about today was the issues in China. I mean, China's it's a communist country,
yeah.
and they're requiring their people to in all of the zones pretty much.
Mm.
They're not renewing passports. They're not letting people leave. But what people are doing is they're breaking out of their houses and they're
Oh
basically
yeah,
trying
oh yeah,
to escape,
yeah.
kind of like the North Korea kind of thing,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's
So
also
so
something I
go ahead.
never support. You can come back for if you want, but the thing is education, treating people as intelligent people that can cooperate. That is important. Of the people comes from education, and then honest and cooperate and act intelligently. So we trust people have the intelligence. We want to respect that. That is the democratic way. That is what I'm saying. I'm not saying people should be uh, talked down or oppressed and all. I'm not at all for that. But the China, what they do, they kind of oppress people, and they kind of, so many people want to jump to death from the high buildings, so they put nets on the road. So this, what I'm talking about is a much more elevated awareness, inner thinking, and really respecting people that they can make intelligent decisions, provided they are aware internally and they are able to understand what is the higher level of existence versus just treating people uh, they are nothing but just control them. That's not at all. We are way above the uh, philosophy than this controlling people just for some people want to have enjoy the power. That's not at all.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And
Yeah.
I think tonight, not tonight, but I think right now, people, and it's a pretty scary situation, my friend.
Yeah.
When people tonight or people right now are just saying, you know what, we've tried, we've given a lot of time, and at this point, I really don't care, Dr. Rao, if I die or not, but I'm not going to live in this absolute crazy hostile place, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're exhausted. Yeah, we are very sympathetic to them. They are really exhausted with all this going on and not having. But then fundamental reason is we don't have a real public health infrastructure, and we don't have orientation towards that.
And you don't have a public health infrastructure
Yeah.
here in the United States.
Yes. We don't have.
I want to back up with you on that one and have you explain that, because
Yeah.
I agree with
Because
that. I just didn't really
see, most of the
help me understand that, bro.
yeah, most of the healthcare system is really to more investigations, more surgeries, more acute care, and all that. Very little attention is given to really make it decentralized and allow public healthcare workers to find things before they become a problem. That is very difficult because they left it to the people, and the people are also not really aware of what is the real health, how to protect themselves, and all that. Okay, so
Right.
we don't have any. See, public healthcare nurse, one nurse in my entire district. I'm here, and she gets the report of suppose something breaks out. Like I see a mumps case at the time mumps was breaking down. If I see the mumps case, I am voluntarily supposed to report as a physician. Okay, and even if I don't report, nobody is going to care about it. But if I'm conscious about limiting the spread and helping the society, then I have to go out of my way to report that to her, and she can only say get so many cases, and then she can go and work with the family. She doesn't have the manpower or the resources to do the effective public health care job. That is where the infrastructure.
What you're talking about, my friend, is a very serious inequity.
Oh yeah, very serious. That's we all know.
A lot of people don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah, we are. No. There was a watch tonight's public channels news hour. Rob. In that, one very eminent epidemiologist came, and then he explained the monkeypox and the COVID-19 very beautifully. And he was also complaining we never invested in the public health infrastructure. I know this because I was in public health, even though it's not my field. I was in that as a citizen involved because I always believe in prevention, right? Prevention is
Right.
better than all. So I was following this since the 80s, since 1980 when I first came into the country, the HIV was prevalent and they were neglected at the time because it is happening in the gays community at the time. And that's the same thing they're doing to monkeypox now because it is happening in the gay community.
I guess there's two questions I have for you. Number one, with all of your time that you've had to research this, I know your opinions really haven't swayed from the time we met. I don't know, a year or two ago, whatever it was. But I think that you said it was good to get the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And my first question would be, do you believe that that's different? And the second thing is, do you find that there's maybe a change on that? You know what I mean? maybe there's a change
No,
in
no,
the
no.
virus.
What happened to the vaccine is the vaccines are becoming not powerful because the mutations are resisting them. That is something we predicted to. But at the
That,
time when
that's correct.
they're happening, if you are taken vaccine at a much faster rate, much bigger rate, not just here but around the world, the spread would have been. See, I can see very well. Um, the Omicron virus happened in India and then came here, and something happened in South Africa and came here, and something happened here and went to England or Italy like that. It has we allowed it because the vaccine should have been given to the most vulnerable populations, most needy population, and so that we have to
Right.
dealt with like a world affair, not just one particular country. And they gave 3 months later the vaccine that they could have given. WHO talked about this. They said we need the vaccine now, not 3 months later. But because of the political reasons, they held it and then they gave it on 3 months later. Sometimes what happened was vaccine was rejected by so many people here. They are left with vaccine that will go, out of guarantee, out of warranty. That's why they have to give it to them. Instead of wasting, they give it to them. But that was delaying the vaccine when it needs. So you have to really curb the fire when it's happening. But then they did not do. They let them burn, and they came back to us. It's like a one plane we are traveling. If you say, "Oh, the back can burn," I will be safe in the first class. That's not really wise, right?
Right. Right. Absolutely. Well, it's amazing. I love your perspective on things, and honestly, it hasn't changed. I just I'm concerned because I don't care what people say.
Yeah,
I'm starting to see an absolute inequality
yeah,
in the system. For I don't want to say people have money and people that don't.
yeah,
What I want to say is that there's a lot of people who deserve certain things that aren't getting it right now,
yeah.
and maybe they're not getting it because they choose out of it. That's also a
Yeah,
possibility.
but it's also very commonsensical, Rob, because I'm a physician. I want the welfare of all of us. But I know if I prevent it wherever the where the virus is happening, if I can go and prevent there, then I won't allow it to spread. So it's as simple as that. It's a very commonsensical physician decision to protect all of them by attending to the people who can spread and limit that there. So that we could not do as humanity as a whole. We did not do that, and still there are so many variants are happening that are much more now. I heard a report today. San Francisco is going to allow inside masking. When you are inside, you are supposed to mask. They are going to look at that next week, and probably by the spread of it, they are going to allow that rule. Probably,
Yeah.
I heard about it this morning. Yeah.
Well,
I
I tell you, things are changing, and I really
Oh
appreciate
yeah,
Doctor.
I still keep in touch with everything that's happening with COVID. I never thought that COVID was over. It is not over at all. And I told people several times, it is going to be here forever, and we better take care of it because our own behavior, our own ignorance of it, and really not paying enough attention. So unless you do the necessary things, it's going to spread more and more virulent form. That means dangerous forms are going to evolve. So you got to look at it. Anyway, Rob is a good friend, and he also participates in this social debate about issues. He comes and contributes in the wisdom and several rooms. He helps a lot of people with the different problems. But even if you take presence of the COVID virus, how we are inwardly aware, awake, and fearless, we can be more sensible and commonsensical about the decisions we make. Instead of having a political leaning and also really taking stands against science. These are new things that develop, right? Before, people used to get the vaccines without much complaint because they were given for the. Obviously, any medical treatment has its risk and the benefits. We always weigh benefits versus the risk and the benefits are too much, then we'll give. At the time the vaccine was produced, it was a miracle because it was produced in a year, and if it was given completely to all areas of it, we could have cut down some of the spread of this virus, and we could have saved several lives too. But even then, getting together all the scientists together, data sharing around the world, that was a beautiful thing. And then getting it in 1 year and getting the funds for the vaccine to really distribute. Lately, that funding has gone down too. So the White House COVID czar and all the, I think it's now Ashish Jha, and they are fighting for more funds so that they will have the resources like cottons, like alcohol, like needles, all those things, that they can mobilize people to go and vaccinate too. But now we are really dealing with something very dangerous because a lot of people are uh, really really concerned about the deadliness of some of these viruses. Even now, we have one antiviral agent, Paxlovid. We can use that. That's much better. That means we have the antibodies. We have a lot of understanding about the disease course and how we can do it. Before we used to intimate very quickly. Now we don't do that. So there are a lot of advantages are there, but among all of them, I think people should be educated, aware, inward. Here also, this inner life I'm talking about happens. Why don't you turn around and look at it? If you are somebody who are really afraid of the vaccine, then you can find out the truth of the vaccine administration deaths and the percentages, the statistics. We all have the data, and then you can resolve that by yourself, and then you don't have to live with the fear or with this, disharmony among ourselves and all that, right? So either way, this all comes to inner life again. It's not that I'm repeating that, but I can see without really understanding, without really looking at the things from the inner perspective. If you just want to go by what you learn in your life, and that may not be completely correct, because if you don't know about the science, if you don't know how they come up with all these vaccines and their efficacy and how they can lose. I've been warning about this. The more spread it is, the more mutations will happen, and when the more mutations happen, they spread faster, or they can get resistant to the existing vaccine. That's what is happening now. But all the time, we have to really employ measures to improve our inner resistance to the infections. All these things should happen if you are really awake and intelligent with it. So, coming to our topic, I believe it was very much needed at the time of independence for India. But now it is really, inner life is very much needed for our entire world, for all of us, because we have become so divided, having wars, and then we have so uh, uh, really oriented towards the external pressures at the cost of our internal mental health and peace and really happiness within. All those things are not there. So still the old time formula of simple living and higher thinking, higher awareness, I would say, within. Okay. That is the formula still applicable. Either you are talking about the planet, how you want to help the planet to prevent the rampant consumerism. You got to look at what are we using, why are we not having some minimalism in our lifestyles. That's a duty as a citizen, I believe, that we should do for the earth's sake. Right now we are seeing all the devastation of the fires and floods, and so many things are happening, right? Heat itself. This is the direct result of the global warming, which was one since 1970s or 80s. I have been a very active participant in being aware of what's going on with the earth, what are the things that are either chopping the woods or burning the fossil fuels or really allowing plastic and other people to go and pollute all of air, water. Everything was happening right in front of our eyes, right? And this is procrastinated by so many scientists for so long, but then we chose to neglect it. Now we're really suffering from that. They were showing uh, the California that used to have forest fire once in a while, and all animals adjusted to that. But now they don't know how to adjust to that because so many fires happening almost weekly basis, and people are there are really making all the metal around their house, and also they are really cutting the grass around their houses, and they're trying to adjust to that, but then it's getting worse. And a lot of snow in the Antarctica is melting. They were showing that too. So it is a serious thing because we are not aware inside of what is going on. I think these things are. That's why awake, aware, and find out what's going on in the life and within us, without us. That's what I would say. Anybody else wants to come up? I'll welcome people to come up and discuss with me these things. If you have any questions or doubts or your own opinions, please come and express. Then I will continue the room. Otherwise, I'll be closing the room in a few minutes. Okay. This is the second time I'm doing this room this morning and today, so that more people can really participate in this discussion and really allow us to spread this awareness. Okay. Um, all right, then if you are all happy with that, I will end the room now, and I'll be seeing you again when I can. Thank you.